Hi everybody, and welcome to Watercolor with Pam. My next video is going to be with roses. It's going to be an arrangement with a verse, but roses are not the easiest to do at times, and I thought maybe if you had a little time before you do the next bigger video, you'll want to spend some time doing some roses. The video will be this arrangement. And the reason I say that is you're going to make the rose first, and you're going to feel like you just made a mess in your journal and you don't like it, and you're going to go, that was the ugliest page I made. I'm not happy. And I don't want you not to be happy. So I want you to practice the rose. I'm going straight pink. I am basically going to take a number 3 brush is what I'm going to try. Going to be pigmented but watery. And it's got a point, okay? This is how I was taught. I'm not a professional. These are a loose rose. So I start with 2 C's. That's my center, okay? And they're gonna be the darkest point of your rose. If you wanna put a second little job on them, they're a little wet, that's okay. I then come on this spot. I'm trying to make sure you can see that my hand's not in the way. And I kind of go in that opening there. See where I went? This time I push down a little bit more. You're going to find that you are going to turn your paper a lot with this. So if you like to tape your picture down, make sure it's something you can move. I usually come, I don't know if you can see that, right along there. And I'll push and come up. And I like sometimes if I can wiggle so I get a wider and narrower spot on it. I always seem to come over this way, and if it doesn't go the way I want, I'll just pick it up and do some more. So that's 3 of them around. I would at this point make your brush a little wet into the pigment a little bit. Because this is still a little wet, let's add a little darkness right there. If it doesn't want to move the way you want, move it yourself. But the object is that it's going to be a little darker right there. And even once in a while, the paint just doesn't want to go where I want it to go. But I want it to, you can feather it out if you want, but I want it a little darker on the inside. All right, gonna do it again. This time, I try to look for where it feels like it's open. So I'd probably come right where the last one was. And I'm just going to wiggle it a little bit and come in. And you could drop right away some in there because you know it's wet. And wiggle it. Drop some in there. Wiggle it. Now, I feel there's too much white there, so I'm going to get a little more paint. I might come in a little bit. I don't want to lose my white spot, but I want to go like so. Now, this is probably the last roll that I'm going to add the extra paint on, and it's just going to keep going around. I just picked up some paint, and we're going to come over here. And I didn't pick up enough. Make it a little wetter. And I'm going to tap a little of that off. And sometimes the bigger frustration could be that the brush doesn't want to move the way you want it to. I'm going to just make a smaller one here because that was a pretty big one. I don't want it to go right on top of each other. I don't want each one to be exact. Petals on the rose don't sit all on top of each other like that. I might push this out a little bit more. And what I'm trying, now I'm going to get my brush just wet. What I'm trying to do is get lighter. And I want it so that the rose is almost open. That's what I'm looking for. So I just went and just tapped the brush in the water. I haven't removed any of the paint, but I tapped it in the water because now I'm getting lighter petals. And I can always make them a little bigger. I can put a small one in here. Sometimes I'll just get that look where I brought it in there. I'm gonna do one more here. I want it, a little more water on there. And if you put the brush in the water, take your tissue and just try to get some of it off so you don't have big puddles on your picture. Okay. Ooh, just about lost my brush there. Dipped it a little further in that one. And you're going to be surprised how long you have paint on your brush. At this point, I just try to make them a little bigger and lighter. If I feel like I got a hole like right here, I might just put a small one in there. If it's about the size I like, you can always come over here and you say, oh, that side need a little bit more. Just fill it in. Fill it in over here if you want to feel like it's not symmetrical enough. Okay. Now, next, I'm going to have you make your brush wet again. And we do want to make sure this is dark enough in here, so you could come around and get a little more distinction in a few spots. I'm going to add the darker color on some of these. Wipe the paint off, and I'm going to try to, I'm just trying to mute it so that it looks a little darker. I don't want that tide line, if I can help it, that I got on that one. That's what I call it. And what I'm basically looking for is just to add another layer of paint. And if you look, my brush is really just taking what pigment I have on there and putting another little dimension to that. And because I'm starting from the middle this way, there's lots and less paint as well. And that is what I want. I just want the center where it would be to have a little more color. Okay, practice it. Don't get frustrated with yourself. These are just a loose flower. This is just a loose rose. And you know it looks like a rose. Some people might say, well, you need some other color in the middle. You can. Now I'm going to show you a variegated one, though in the video I'm not going to be doing that. So we'll start again. I put the color on my brush. And we're going to do the C. I like it a little darker, a little more pigmented right away. Now, I'm going to have some yellow mixed next to it here on my palette somewhere. Since I was half planning this. All right, let's see how this goes. I'm gonna go here and do my next one with my pink, and then I'm going to touch into my yellow, and I'm going to, that one didn't work as well as I'd like. I think it was too wet. Let's try again. Rinse the brush out. This is just the pink. I'm going to come around. I'm going to dry my brush, pick up some yellow, and I just want to get a little color besides pink. Might make it kind of a peachy. This one's almost a little bit too close to two C's, but it also happens, so. Okay, ooh, that's a nice one. Let's see what that one does. Oh, that's kind of pretty. See the contrast color there? I like that. Wipe the brush, clean it out, get straight pink. I'm trying to get a little more on there so I can get my pushing down. Clean it off this time and pick up my yellow again. I'm just putting it on the inside while it's wet. This is a way, when we do it this way, you definitely want to go petal by petal, or otherwise it might be dry on you before you get a chance. I'll make this one a little bigger, maybe even come in a little bit more. right. Pick the yellow. I gotta get some more yellow mixed up here. I'm just gonna touch the inside of the rose there. Clean the brush off. Get my pink. Got plenty of paint on it. Oops, kind of lost my white space there. Into my yellow. I'm not going to have quite as much yellow on that one. I'm also wanting to start to a point that my pink gets a little lighter. So now this one, I feel like it got too much on the side of the same. So I'm going to make it just a little bigger there. And might get the yellow in there good. Okay, well, this time I'm going to try to take a little of that paint off. I got something icky in my water. Ooh, that water's getting really dirty, and I think I just picked up from the bottom. I should have cleaned water, but sorry about that. It's going to be kind of lose the prettiness there, that one. You might just, there's something in my water, but I'm going to leave it because I don't want to, that, or there's something dry on my palette. At this point, I'm going to come back to my pink, and I'm going to just try to get just a little bit darker. I'm going to go right over that yellow, and so the yellow is going to be the one that's not really going away, but it's going to get like another layer on it so that we can get some more depth into our rose. I'm about out of pink on my palette too. And there's the second rose with some color. I think that's beautiful as well. So I'd love for you to play a little bit, and I will have the next video on probably tomorrow with the verse for Psalm 18. But today is a great day to practice your roses. Have fun and talk to you soon.